Hello, this is Photography Gamer, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm reviewing the XCOM 2 collection for the PS4. The game's available on Xbox, Nintendo and PC as well. XCOM 2 is a turn-based combat tactical management game developed by Firaxis Games. XCOM 2 is set 20 years after the events of XCOM Enemy Unknown. The remaining XCOM members have been forced underground as the alien forces control the Earth. You play as the commander who has to lead the resistance and attempt to take back the planet. XCOM 2 collection includes the base game, 4 DLC packs and the War of the Chosen expansion. So what is the game like to play? Well, XCOM 2 is like two games merged into one. On the one side you have a turn-based tactical combat game and on the other side an in-depth management sim. So first let's look at the turn-based combat. You control a squad of up to 6 members with a variety of different classes and soldier types. Each character can complete a certain amount of actions per turn, whether that be moving into position, firing your weapons, overwatch, healing, grenades, etc. These small decisions have a big impact on how the battle unfolds, with one small error leading to an absolute disaster and several members of your team dying for good. One curious feature is all your team members get exposed if one is seen by an enemy, even if they are a long distance apart. This can be remedied later on with perks, but it doesn't really make any sense. Combat is akin to those old turn-based board games where you roll a dice and hope for a good score leading to a deadly attack, but it can result in some trolling that felt quite scripted. Like you're just about getting your team having the upper hand and then 3 of your crack troops miss an enemy that's standing right in front of them. One area where the game truly excels is enemy variety. Each enemy type has different weapons, skills or tactics that make each level feel unique. No two missions were the same and it keeps you honest and on your toes from one scenario to the next. On the whole, it's probably the most varied, intelligent and interesting turn-based combat experience that I've ever had. But what about the management sim side of the game? Well, in between missions you spend your time in the mobile base of operations, where you recruit staff, alter your soldiers' loadout or use various staff members to research alien tech. You'll be doing alien autopsies, researching new weapons, clearing old rooms to build new ones, dealing on the black market and scanning the world map to decide what mission to take on next. It can be quite bewildering at times with so many menus, sub-menus and things to manage and consider. I feel the game would have greatly benefited from stripping this back or having an option to automate this portion of the game. Because if you want to focus on the tactical combat, these phases of play can be quite mind-numbing. Another feature I really liked was the soldier customization. You can choose their names, nationality and even their voices too. So if you want a French-speaking killer robot on your team, you can do that, no problem.
Menace éliminée. Statut noir.
You'll have a variety of armors to select from, colours and many unique features to create your own set of troops, but due to the permadeath feature I wouldn't get too attached as most of them will end up dead. The story was pretty interesting on the whole, but the way the campaign is shaped I would say is quite problematic. It puts a little too much time pressure on players that, if not addressed, result in a game over screen, which for a game that is so time consuming, felt like a massive mistake. Yes, you can reload missions, repeat until you complete them, but that really does become quite boring after a while. Iron Man mode is my preferred way of playing where everything's final, but it isn't without its problems either. As I encountered during one mission, it froze, I couldn't move, the enemies couldn't move, I couldn't restart the mission, and every load took me back to the same situation, which basically meant the last week of my play was ruined. So bear that in mind. The game, even though it's been out a while, there are glitches in there. There is also a multiplayer mode, but I didn't personally get involved in that much, but it's there if you want to challenge other players. Okay, so that's the base game, but XCOM 2 collection comes with a variety of DLCs. Firstly, we have Anarchy's Children, which has over 100 customization options for soldiers, including masks, face paint, hairstyles, that kind of stuff. Then we have the Alien Hunters DLC that adds new weapons, armor, and the chance to fight alien rulers during the campaign. but they can be quite annoying because they get like a move every time you do an action. Very frustrating. It also features cosmetic upgrades for soldiers and the Avengers ship, as well as a new mission where Central Officer Bradford leads a squad into battle. Thirdly, we've got Shen's Last Gift, the Last Tower DLC. This adds a new mission where Shen accompanies your squad in search for her late father's secret final project. It adds a new soldier class, strategic mechanics and customization options. The Resistance Warrior Pack adds a set of bonus outfits and headgear, as well as a custom armor and face camo. It also unlocks a survivor of the Old War who can be added to your ranks. The last DLC and most substantial is War of the Chosen. This DLC adds a huge amount of content and is implemented as a separate campaign, almost like an alternative remixed version of the base game. It features some subtle quality of life improvements like overhauling the character creation screen and adding a team photo option. There are new factions who join your ranks once you complete various missions in the new regions. And overall it adds more depth to the story, and the new soldiers and their new abilities really do make for some wonderful tactical experiences. Also, soldiers now can bond over time if they complete enough missions together, granting exclusive benefits for their friendship. The Chosen are the new enemies who provide a tough challenge and can kidnap your troops. It also lets you send soldiers on covert ops, and in general, it felt like a massive improvement to the base campaign. But sadly, you can't use your created characters from the base campaign in this new one, which seems like a bit of a mission there. Visually, it's a solid affair from the menus, characters and the visual presentation. The camera though does have some problems in built up areas during combat, with a few freezes, crashes and a bit of image tearing from time to time. In terms of sound, the voice acting standard is very good on the whole. The sound effects are well suited to the sci-fi theme, but the music isn't quite as consistent. It felt like, quite over the top. Like every moment you get this booming Hollywood blockbuster soundtrack, but it doesn't always relate to what's actually going on. Okay, what's good and what's bad? What's good? The turn-based combat is about as good as it gets. The soldier creation system is great. Permadeath actually works and it adds value to each soldier's contribution. Troop variety and leveling up lets you specialize each troop, and the amount of choice is really incredible. Enemy variety is amazing and it demands you to adapt your tactics, and the War of the Chosen campaign improves so many things and for me was the best way to play the game. What's bad? The story campaign has pacing issues, technical performance is up and down with quite a few crashes, and on one occasion a campaign ending freeze. The game relies on you liking two gaming genres, turn-based combat and management sims, and the music needed to be more adaptive to the situation rather than just being one size fits all. So what is the verdict? XCOM 2 Collection is a game of two halves. In terms of turn-based combat, it's an in-depth, tactical and fascinating struggle where humanity fights against the odds to overcome alien invaders. The missions are interesting, they're well thought out with cool enemies, great troop variety, permadeath that works, and a system that sets the standard in this genre. But I would say the campaign had too many time pressure points that make the other side of the game become a real drag. By that I mean the management side. For me, XCOM 2 should have focused more on the exceptional combat rather than the fairly average management sim, especially as the decisions you make in the management sections are often more important than what happens on the battlefield. It's odd for a game to feature two very different genres in one experience, because if you don't like one or the other, then it kind of devalues the whole experience in one. So for me, it has the best turn-based combat in any game I've ever played, but those moments are a little bit diluted by the uninteresting and quite tedious facilities management sim integrated within the game in between the combat scenarios. Saying that, I still really enjoyed it just for the combat. Yes, in time you learn the management side and you can adapt to it, but I can't say it was ever something I looked forward to, and it went on way too long and it kind of dragged down the score, because this could have been a 10 if it had been well balanced. But due to the amount of content that you get, you know, the DLCs, the overall quality of the tactics, I definitely would recommend it. Definitely for turn-based fans. Management sims, I mean, if you like management sims and turn-based games, then you're in for a treat. If you're not keen on management, I think you'll struggle a lot with a lot of it. But it's still exceptional in turn-based combat. So my score for XCOM 2 Collection is 8 out of 10. Could have been a 10 if they'd have just balanced off the combat with less management, but unfortunately, that's not the case. Okay, that was the review. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. This is Photography Gamer signing off. Thank you.